Ladies and gentlemen, it seems like somebody is trying to help Burkina Faso, right? Because I don't know why Burkina Faso keep coming up has this important topic. Let me just explain to you guys why Burkina Faso is so important. Burkina Faso looks like one of the few, if not the only country in Africa right now that belongs to the AES alliance that holds no foreign debt anywhere with anybody. The internal economy is building up with a lot of industrial growth. Exports is increasing, import is decreasing drastically, with some other big investments going into agriculture, with an initiative that Burkina must feed itself. That is against the global order of things. You are not seeing free education, older people not paying for water, the country sponsoring students to go to Russia for education, Russian embassy opening in Burkina Faso. Ladies and gentlemen, look, let me just say this. Burkina Faso has all the rights right now to take a decision. Like, this is who we want to be friends with, right? And they have the right to do that. And I believe categorically that the citizens, they love their leader. Africa love Ibrahim Traoré. We back him up. Now, but it seems as if, and we know in the next 2 years, let me not say five is too much. In the next 2 years, Burkina Faso is going to be one of the top economies in Africa. Just take it as it. And you know, they have a lot of land. So, you see those lands, those large surfaces that I'm saying, like those land that has not been touched at all. People, Africans are coming there. Don't worry, we will leave our corrupt nation. Don't worry, we are coming. We will buy land in those places. We are the ones that are coming to build there. So keep standing strong. We believe in this Burkina Faso project. So General Michael Langley is saying that the terrorism around the Sahel is affecting the sovereignty of Burkina Faso. I don't understand that they might try to help Burkina Faso. That it seems like Burkina Faso might conquer if they help. Guys, watch this video.
Percent of that region is controlled by extremist organizations. So their sovereignty is already threatened by their shared objectives. And we want to help them because if Burkina Faso wins against terrorism, all the bordering countries win as well.
But the true picture of it is Burkina Faso is ruthlessly dealing with these terrorists, even if it seems like, a lot of propaganda is going on, right? And I want you guys to remember something. The claimed attack that they say 200, whatever died. Guys, don't be deceived. 200 did not die. Let's not get it twisted. 200 whatsoever did not die in that attack. It was a lie.
Oh my god, the sky is falling. The terrorists have taken over Burkina Faso. Ibrahim Traoré is a failure. Everyone is dead and we're doomed. But it's the end of the world and we're doing it. Or at least that's how you're supposed to react to that video. Because, look at it. Terrorists marching through the center of a town in Burkina Faso. Same Burkina Faso with the red beret man who's supposed to be doing so well. And hold on, what's this? 2 stories within 2 days of each other reporting 2 other terrorist attacks in Burkina Faso where hundreds of people died. Quotes from analysts in each story saying the same thing. That Burkina Faso's military cannot protect its people and the countries of the Sahel Alliance need to go back to France with their tails between their legs. But hold on a second. Before you go away with a definite picture in your head, ask yourself this question. what are you actually looking at here? Let's start from the circumstances surrounding this sudden rash of terror attacks in Burkina Faso. So on May 9, Ibrahim Traoré met Russian President Vladimir Putin at the Victory Day parade in Moscow. This was a few days after AFRICOM soldier who shall remain nameless accused him of using Burkina Faso's gold to protect himself. In addition to meeting Putin and having a series of bilateral discussions, Traoré also gave an interview to RT where he gave Emmanuel Macron and AFRICOM soldier a public spanking. Interestingly, while this was happening, Mr. Macron was meeting in Paris with a former Al-Qaeda commander who once had a $10 million US government bounty on his head called Mohammed Al-Jalani, who these days is Syria's head of state and is now known in French media as Ahmed al-Sharaa, because war is peace, slavery is freedom, ignorance is strength, and we have always been at war with East Asia. Shout out to George Orwell. Next thing you know, Al-Qaeda's North African subsidiary carries out these attacks, and the terrorists carefully videotape themselves tearing down a Burkinabe flag and a Russian flag. They then shoot sporadically at a government installation where literally nobody is around. And they get on their motorbikes and get the hell out of there. So I checked the map to see where these three locations are: the Apadia town, Djibo province, and Loroum province. Turns out all three are either right next to Burkina Faso's troublesome northern border with Mali, or its southeastern border with Benin, which so happens to host a French military base just 50 kilometers from the border. So apparently these guys swooped in on their motorbikes, carried out a blitz attack, filmed it for maximum effect, and then disappeared. And incidentally, that matches the exact version of the story that the authorities in Ouagadougou have maintained for months. While US-based private intelligence organizations with links to Israeli intelligence claim that more than one-third of Burkina Faso is under the control of jihadists, the Burkinabe government insists that not only is this not the case, but that previously displaced people are actually returning home in numbers, as the army has regained control over most of the country's territory. So who's telling the truth? Well, you know what they say, men lie, women lie, but accurate and properly contextualized numbers don't. So let's look at the African Development Bank's numbers. According to the AFDB, the country's inflation rate fell off a cliff from 14.1% in 2022 to just 0.7% in 2023, driven primarily by improved food supplies. Think about that. In other words, after being driven away by insecurity prior to Ibrahim Traoré's takeover, Burkinabe farmers have been able to return to their farms and road networks have been secured, permitting food supply to be so plentiful that inflation fell by 95% in just 1 year. The agricultural industry periodical, Milling, Middle East and Africa, also estimates that Burkina Faso will achieve 111% of its cereal harvest needs this year. And while this is going on, there's also a quiet construction boom going on in Bobo Dioulasso, which recently opened a new 500-bed teaching hospital, and in Ouagadougou, where new shopping malls and residential buildings are going up. Does any of this strike you as the sign of a failed state without territorial sovereignty that is led by a pretender with no capacity? And that brings us to the crux of the issue. Who's behind the message of doom that you are supposed to get when you see terrorists on motorbikes ripping down flags and carefully videotaping location signposts so that you know that they were there? And why? To answer that question, all you have to do is scroll to the bottom of these stories and check out who was quoted giving expert analysis of these events. So in the first story, you have someone named Beverly Ochieng, an apparent specialist in Sahelian affairs, who comes from the famous Sahelian city of Nairobi, Kenya. This is about 6,000 kilometers southeast of the Sahel. Her glittering qualifications for Sahelian geopolitical analysis and conflict reporting include hosting a podcast about poetry and literature, writing for a Kenyan news website, and knowing how to speak French. Experts. And with this glittering CV, who does she work for? Well, it's something called the Center for Strategic and International Studies, which is an American think tank, blah, blah, blah. Oh, here's the interesting part. Funded by the American Defense Industry Avengers, Lockheed Martin, General Atomics, Northrop Grumman. So Beverly is essentially acting as the spokesperson of the same establishment that AFRICOM soldier comes from. Isn't that interesting? The other story quotes Conflict Armament Research for its expert analysis. So I wonder who these guys are. Let's see, check them out, see who's behind them, and funded by the European Union. The same European Union whose member states, France, believes that Burkina Faso without French domination is like Paris without its rats and constant smell of pee. And what this means is that both stories quoted biased and unreliable sources without disclosing the bias, and then presented these elaborate geopolitical opinion pieces as news. And that, unfortunately, is all too common in journalism. Because that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you manufacture a crisis and use it to achieve political objectives by peddling poison information which locks people into a reality that does not exist. Some call it public opinion management. Others call it mass mind control. Plus ça change.
And a lot of people are talking about the relationship of Africa. It seemed to me that at this point, China even has more influence in Africa than the United States. Currently, China just built a 30,000 capacity stadium for free to Chad. Chad is the latest country that wants to join the AES. And again, recently, studying the geopolitical map, of like foreign influence in Africa, like who do Africans love more? China is overwhelmingly influential in Africa. And if you want to talk about the relationship of Africa with Russia right now, just look at these videos. These are Africans having good time with Russians, right? That's mutual respect. We love Russia and we love China. Most of these African democratic countries, they owe China more money than they will ever owe IMF or the United States. In fact, I don't want to mention some country. Even the money those ones are owing China is enough to sell off the whole country. So, to be honest with you, this all we want to help is not needed. Burkina Faso is winning this fight against terrorism and they are going on the offensive. Burkina Faso is employing a lot of technologies that these guys don't know, they don't even believe that Burkina Faso can literally advance to this point. And let me not lie to you, right? The more the fight against this terrorism, the more battle hardened and military expertise they gain. The experience is going to be vast. Meaning, in the next 2 years, Burkina Faso will have one of the strongest military in Africa, if not top five, because they are actively in combat. And most of those guys are learning, improvising, and adapting in like life and death situation, which only is a positive for me the way I see it, because they are improving.
I'm going to attack on the right. Attack on the right. On the right, you know.
I'm here. I'm here. I'm here.
I'm here. I'm here.
A human presence and life. Along 100 kilometers of laterite, between villages shaped by agriculture and dense forest. On Captain Watao's direct orders, the columns of soldiers steadily head south. That's a bend-out vehicle with Tiger as its call sign. The passenger was executed. We are approaching the dreaded Kuflandi forest because it breaks the vehicle and keeps going, bent in places, desolate. The atmosphere is heavy. Here, it reeks of death despite the time that has passed. Without trial, the terrorists gutted or slit the throats of men, women, and children in this infamous no man's land with the Grim Reaper Roda. The armed men had made it an important base. Occupying and obstructing, several major operations were needed to drive them out. 10% of the electricity.
Today, it's what has been done in 2 years. Honestly, not bad. The threat is reduced. We can't deny that.
Dans le viseur du commando, 2 bases importantes à traiter. Le 7e bataillon veut assommer les terroristes depuis leur bastion pour l'exemple. Chaque coup de l'armée est un choc retentissant pour les terroristes. Une humiliation pour les suppôts du crime qui s'en remettent difficilement.
Oui, je l'ai dit.
Le ton par l'artillerie. Le ciel bruyant avant le sol silencieux.
Nous venons de traiter deux objectifs dont les coordonnées étaient bien précises. À base de ces coordonnées, on a pu...
Sous des gouttelettes d'eau, il ne reste plus qu'à exécuter les ordres. À la lueur du jour, les fantassins s'activent. Deux compagnies renforcées se partagent la zone. L'ouest et le sud pour une première incursion motorisée de plus d'une vingtaine de kilomètres. À la manœuvre, les lieutenants Triomphe et Lynx, les deux parmi les deux qui commandent les unités combattantes. L'officier militaire et sa troupe nous embarquent. Le premier village est à environ 11 km de nos pas. Les éléments avancent prudemment. La surprise peut surgir de nulle part. La battue continue. En terrain presque conquis. Les terroristes évitent désormais le contact direct avec les unités de l'armée. Village après village, fouilles minutieuses, sensibilisation et embuscade. Pour briser la stratégie des terroristes qui résident désormais dans la perfidie et la mobilité des complices.
Il est en train de courir.
Ici, des pièces à conviction. Et les propriétaires ne sont peut-être pas loin. Notre présence est détectée par des informateurs ennemis qui donnent de la voix depuis la radio. Dispositif mis en place. Les guetteurs ne vont pas tarder à mordre à la maison. Ça crépite à l'arrière. Vite, nous nous y déportons. Le danger est écarté. Un homme à terre.
Non, on l'a eu. Et voilà, il est couché.
Un terroriste.
Il voulait fuir.
Traité.
C'est un gars même. Là, c'est son imperméable. Ça là, c'est sa moto.
Pendant que nous y sommes, Alanishkov et PKM tournent à l'ouest. La tension est électrique. L'ivresse de la guerre n'a pas faibli ici. Bien au contraire.
Il n'y a rien. On parle là-bas. Il y a quoi?
So, I mean, it's all developing for good. At this point, Burkina Faso, I think, is that only country in Africa that can like take that decision. But guys, don't you even think of it? Nigeria is literally wallowing and like terrorists are destroying lives almost like every week. If I won't say every day, some are even unreported. America is not trying to help Nigeria, right? A country that keeps borrowing. They said they recently pay back their IMF loan. They're owing World Bank, owing China, among many other debts. You are not trying to help that country. You want to come and help a self-sufficient Burkina Faso that is already preparing to feed itself. That is already opening a lot of industrial, organization. Now, let me tell you something about this industrialization thing, right? You see, in big countries like Nigeria, right? What you will find out in countries like Nigeria is big organizations that are being owned by private owners, right? In Burkina Faso, listen, in Nigeria, you see that type of system, Dangote and all of that, Otedola and all those guys. It only benefits the rich minority. The majority are in like struggling and in poverty. Ask a typical Nigerian how I think he's only rich and the poor now. Even the civil servants in Nigeria, they are struggling like hell. $1 is around, I think, 1,600 or something. So you want to compare that country to Burkina Faso? You see, all the cement industry, the cashew industry, new agriculture, all these things is nation now. It belongs to the citizens, it belongs to the country. And they're employing like it belongs to the country, it belongs to Burkina. It doesn't belong to one person, it doesn't belong to a private owner or something. And different private organizations, right, from small scale to large scale, they are getting massive loan from the government. Let me tell you how Burkina loan initiative for business goes, right? They're not, you pay back the loan, they're not taking any interest. Captain Ibrahim Traoré said those type of interests, they are not blessed by God. You see? So that's a whole different conversation for another day. But ladies and gentlemen, I won't lie to you. Do you think these people are making success, I mean, maximum success on their anti-terrorism campaign? And remember, Burkina, Chad, Mali, Niger, and Togo, they are currently taking special forces training to have a joint multinational military component that is going to start combating the terrorism around their borders now. It's about to get crazy. I don't know if General Langley knows this. If he doesn't know, I think he should go back home. These countries, they are economically self-dependent. So please, nobody needs your help. This is a diplomatic conversation, right? So go back to your country. Nobody needs your diplomacy. Nobody needs your help. And their allies are forging on good. So thank you and God bless you. So you can see now that Africa can really, really stand on its feet without the help of anybody. You see, they went from Ibrahim Traoré is trying to promote, to protect himself with his gold, to now they want to help. No, nobody needs your help. That means without you people, economy can thrive. Without you people, we can solve our own terrorism issues. Without you people, we can govern ourselves without any flaws. Now you can see how united the people of Burkina Faso is. I want you guys to learn that now. You can see how united the entire country of Burkina Faso is without politics. You see, politics is a dangerous disease in the body where you can hate on, you can even kill your brother that is born by the same mother because you are vying for the same political post. I know two people that has almost killed themselves before, born by the same parents, but because of political office. You can see now. So for me, I do feel like Burkina Faso is like one of the, in terms of within the citizens, they have peace, they are united. You see, and it's good. We don't need politics around there. We don't need democracy around there. If you think you know something that you think can benefit the nation for the greater good of the entire population of the citizens, you know what I feel? I feel like you can bring that idea up. This is going to be like what goes on in China, where you tell the government about your plan and the government finances it heavily and it grows and the nation grows. Everybody grows collectively. We don't need that. Look, that political thing is wrong. No nation that does two-party system or multi-party system is growing. There's going to be a lot of division, enmity, selfish interest. We don't need it. So, ladies and gentlemen, with this viewpoint of mine, I'm not the best on this channel. I know a lot of you guys in the comment section, you even know more than me. But I'm telling you once again that whatever is going on in Burkina Faso is simply the best definition of being self-reliant and self-dependent. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to appreciate you guys for staying tuned to us, for supporting us. A lot of people have been donating. Man, I really, really can't appreciate you guys enough. You guys keep giving us the morale. You guys keep giving us the confidence. You guys keep making me believe that In fact, this could be a dream career for me, because now I'm beginning to weigh the balance between focusing on like giving you going into food journalism for you guys, or sticking with my medical profession. I'm thinking about it seriously, because you guys, I don't know, I have this I have a better connection with you guys than I'm beginning to connect with job like hospital and all of that, because of how traumatic the environment looks. You know, you see a lot of cases that are just devastating. I think I have more peace here. I think I love talking to you guys more. I think I see everybody on this channel as my brother and sister, and I think I care about everybody so much. And for every criticism and every advice in the comment section, trust me, I see everything, we read everything, we take our corrections, and we move on with it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy 72 Andre signing out, enough said. But before I go, I love you guys.